Alright guys, so welcome back to FixLab, and this is my first video for the year. And if you're here right now, I want to really welcome you and say happy new year to you. And in the spirit of the new year, we're going to start now with something super different, something amazing. And also because this is the first time I'm actually doing it on the channel, I really feel excited to share with you this one. So this particular video, we're going to be doing a Flutter desktop and a Flutter web, right? So because Flutter is a cross-platform application developer toolkit, we actually going to be able to run this on roughly 3 platforms, right? And right now I'm actually on the Mac, so I'm running this test project on the Mac, right? If you can see, this is actually a desktop application, as you can see right now. So this, at the end of the day, this is what you're going to actually learn. You're going to learn how to actually structure and build an application that is actually being able to run on the desktop, right? And also be able to run that on your Windows machine. So what we're doing is just like this particular inventory application that I found. You'll find a link to the design on the description. And what we're actually doing is like an inventory stock taking application where you can actually add new product. You can export the product probably in spreadsheets, but we're actually building only the front end part of it with some data, just for data binding to simulate what we're trying to achieve. And by the design that I found, we actually have just the front home screen design. So to start out with the code, what we're going to do first, just like we normally do, is to actually clean up the starter app that normally comes when we initialize a project. Alright, so I think we've done this some time back, so I'm going to just quickly do find using regex. I'm going to kind of find these very stuff, right? And I'm going to quickly do kind of replace, right, with nothing. To replace all. So just gonna help me to totally remove all those white spaces and comments. Alright, so what we have now is a bare bone stuff, right? Nothing inside, just like we normally do, right? So if you run the application, it's just gonna have nothing. So just like I said, we are going to be targeting the web, the desktop, the 2 types of desktops, so popular desktop basically. So because I'm actually running on the Mac, so I'm going to be running my test cases on the Mac desktop, which is the computer that I'm currently using right now. So if you are running this tutorial on Windows, you can actually run the Windows, because I have bootstrapped this project for web, Windows, and macOS, meaning that if you run the code, you should be able to test it in any of these very architectures. All right. That being said, the first thing we need to do is I just want to quickly walk you through what I have in the code before we can continue. And as usual, like I normally do, just to make the thing go straight forward, so that we don't have to do a little housekeeping. So having a constant, some few colors and all this stuff, I think we might need, because I have to pick them out from the design, right, that I wanted to use to actually show you this. You're going to find the link to that in the description, and that's basically what we actually going to be using as a reference point to actually make this design. So if you're here with me, let me quickly bring that up. So let's see. All right, so here we go. So this is the design that I'm actually going to be creating. So I found this in Dribble, yeah, supposedly Dribble, just like I normally do. And we're going to be building this. This is supposed to probably be a web application, right? But I know this can exist on the desktop right now, because there's a lot of aesthetic, powerful technologies that actually enables this to be on the desktop. If this is a company, they might not really need to probably be on the web. It's very light. It can be on the desktop, and that's the power of Flutter. Flutter has this capacity of creating aesthetic UIs for any platform, right? So it doesn't really have to be on the web only. But the sweetness of what we're doing is that whatever we're writing right now is going to be run on the browser. You're going to see that on the browser as well. 90% of the time we might not really need to do much scaling, all right, like trying to track responsiveness right now because we are targeting large screen. So we'll probably, if it's a production app, we'll probably restrict a particular size and work on that size. All right, that being said, this is what we're going to be building, right? And you can see how sweet it is, looking very nice and colorful. And at the end of the day, we should be able to get this guy running on our desktop and on the web. All right, so you can see we have this guy here. We have the navigation bar or the menu bar, with the profile and then the notification and the title, and then we have these navigations here. So we're going to be able to actually create these very stuffs the way it's looking, hopefully. And then the colors that I chose is the one I'm trying to show you right now. So if you see, I chose a menu bar color that is this color, right? And I'm choosing a background color which is like this backdrop color here, one that's in the background. I'm choosing a primary color which is like these colors that stand out, these blues. I also have this other color I call default icon color. I'm using it for these icons, like these particular icons now, right? And also have this product status color, right? Because this color of status have like two colors, whether it's active or inactive. Then I also have an icon backdrop color. I think that should be this color that is behind this particular icon, right? So that's what we have in the constant. All right, the constant have what we need to have handy to get going. And then in the data folder, you're going to find the model. The model is actually how we are defining this particular product, because this is a product itself, right? So I model that product from what I'm seeing, right? From what is visible on this very UI. So my join, there's a product name, which is the name, the product photo, this guy, the product category, meaning it's either clothing or any of these, and then it has product SKU, which is like kind of identification. And then we have a product variant count, which is like this variant I'm seeing here. Then we have the list of product variants, right? Like size, color, and all of that. Then we have the product price, which is this, and then we have the product status. And you can see how I actually built that from this very individual information. And then you can see I have an enum here, which is actually a type, right? Because you can see I have product category as a type. So in the product variant, I have color, size, material, meaning that any of these are the variants that each particular product could have. We could have multiple of that, right? And then the product status could either be active or out of stock. So when we're defining this very product, we should be able to indicate what status it actually possesses at that particular point in time. So just a barebone model, right? Then we have a constructor, single constructor that has all these guys required. Then I have a data set where I actually created this particular single instance of this. It's supposed to be a list of products because we're actually dealing with a table that has list of this information. So, but this is just an instance of we having a particular product, so we can actually add up this before we get to the point where we're going to be needing that. Probably this will be populated, right? So, but you can actually use this guy to use exactly what we have here to duplicate that and populate your items with what we have exactly here. So you can just make changes to your product prices, SKUs, the name, the categories, the colors, and the variants, right? So, and then the photo, you could just grab a photo from Pixabay and all of that. So that's just what we have here, right? And the next thing we're going to be doing is following through to start making other widgets and everything. But before we continue, you can see we have a lot of code already in the system. So what we're going to do now, let me show you quickly, just the way you normally do, how to actually get your stuff running. So first of all, what you need to do is to go to the link in the description, which is the link to the repository, and you should be able to actually get to this place. All right, so we are here now. If you're in this place, the link should bring you to this place. So you actually make sure you're pointed to the startup branch. The startup branch has exactly what we have now and what I did, which is removing that comment section in the main.dat. All right, so once you're in the main.dat, you should be able to remove all those comments. It's exactly what we have here that you're going to find, right? The only difference right now is just that I removed the comment. So going back to this place, you can see that's what we have. If you go to the leaf folders, and you could only find the utils and the data. The util have the constant, which is the colors, then you have the data, which is just what I showed you now, and then you have the main.dat, which has the barebone stuff. Just once you clone this repository, just like we normally do. So I'm just going to walk you back to that, how we do this. So in this place, just copy, go to the code, drop down, copy this particular stuff, and go to your terminal or your git bash if you're on the Windows, and then git clone this repository, and then point -b to the branch, starter branch, just like we normally do. So let's get that up here. So let's see, I'm actually working on my document, and I have main project, right? So inside my project, let's say this is where I actually want to get this guy started, and inside that I can just do a good git clone the repository, and I'm going to do -b starter branch, right? And I'm going to do inside a particular folder, probably called inventory, right? And I can hit enter, and I should have the repository down here. So this one way you can actually make sure that you're actually cloning exactly the starter branch of this particular repository. This is a good way to start. But if you don't like this approach as well, you can also just copy the repository like this. And in the Android Studio, you go to new from your files, new project, and new project from version control. It's going to give you a dialog. Then you're going to paste this URL here. All right. And then it's going to grab the whole thing down. So the only downside with that one is that it's going to bring both, if you have up to 10 branches in the repository, it's going to bring all of them. So you have to find yourself back to the starter branch to be able to start coding from there. So if you use that approach, make sure you are pointing on the starter branch, as you can see at the bottom right here, before you can actually start continuing. So if you have everything ready, if you've actually cleaned up your stuff, so let's get to the next step of trying to clean up this very main.dat, and then we can start adding piece of code to increase what we're doing right now. So let's get that. So let's quickly clean up this dummy startup project. So I'm quickly going to go back to the app, and I'm going to change this guy to main. So main here. Right, so we're going to quickly delete these guys. We don't need you right now. So delete. And let's quickly create a stateful widget. The stateful widget we're going to create is going to be a main, right? It's going to help us to keep track of everything we're going to be hooking up, right? It's just going to be like the main screen, right? So let's quickly do stateful widget, and I'm going to call that main, right? So this guy can now be normal, right? So quickly, I'm going to also add here, remove the default ban. I'm going to turn it to false, right? Let's quickly add this to slab inventory. All right, so that being done, so let's quickly start adding small stuff to this. So the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to create the root of this project. The root is going to be like a navigation, right? If you check out the UI again, you can see we have this navigation here, right? So, and I also have this other header right here. So what we should be able to do is find a way to actually create the background, which is going to be like a container that will hold the whole thing. All right, so I can be able to position, like you can see this one is spreading throughout the width of the application, and this one is hooking from below the header down to the height. So that's what we need to first of all structure. So that is going to be represented by this container, just like we have already. So let's quickly just do the container, and we're going to do, first of all, let's wrap this guy with a scaffold, because that's what we need. But this scaffold is not going to have a bar. So let's do scaffold, right? quickly change this guy to body. All right, now the color of this container is going to be, if you remember the stuff I showed you before, that's going to be the background color from a constant. Background color. Let's do quickly an import background, import it from constant. Now let's take a look at what we have. So if you check out this guy, you can see that we already have a container. That container is going to be what will have this color, this background color, right? Now, if you look at this, we have something like stacking from top to bottom, meaning that the header is on top first. This gives us an idea that we're going to be using a column to actually start out. So a column is going to be there, and then we're going to put this guy as the first child. Then this is also going to be another kind of container, but this time is going to be a row because we're stacking this guy left to right. So just to give you an idea, so that's what we're going to be doing. So the child of this container is going to be a column. So let's start with the child. So header here. And we are supposed to have also the side navigation. Alright, so in the side navigation we have this very file, and what we do here, we need to have an expanded. So the expanded is going to actually help us to make the header to actually stick to the top. If you check out here, we have header here, right? So we're going to use expanded to fill up the remaining part. You understand? So let's quickly create a header here, and the header is not existing yet. So we're going to call it app header. Right, so app header is going to be here. Then we need to pull up expanded. Expanded is going to have a child. Sorry, let's have a child. This is comma here. And there's child. So the child is going to be a row, right? The reason is because we need to lay out these items from left to right. Agree with me? So let's put here so children of the row is going to be, going to call this side of vertical side addition. Alright, we've not created these guys yet, so this is just gonna be placeholder. So after that, we're going to have what next? We're going to have an expanded again. Expanded is going to hold the remaining part of the screen. Like if you check out, what we did was to have this guy, and then we're wrapping it expanded because it's going to fill up the remaining part of the screen. Then this side navigation is going to be where it is. Expanded is going to fill up the remaining part of the body. So that's what we did this guy for. So this guy now we're going to do here column, because we want to be able to stack whatever we're going to be having into a column, right? Just on top of each other. So that's just what we have right now. Let's quickly format. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing is basically to actually create a folder that will house these very individual widgets. So I'm going to go under the lib. I'm going to make some kind of widget that will just serve as a placeholder so that we don't, that's going to be a folder, not so we don't have these errors. So we'll go to directory widgets, and in the widgets we're going to create 2 of these files. Just going to be plain widget without some content yet. Need that file app header, and let's make here the app header is going to be stateless widget, so let's just call it stateless widget app header. Right, let's create another one. First of all, let's do an import of material using my style shortcut. Okay, we need to also create another widget called vertical side navbar, right? So a new dot file vertical side navigation. And this is going to be a stateful widget. So vertical, probably we're going to update it with what we have in that place. So whatever we give it here is going to be the vertical side navigation menu. I think so. Vertical side navigation menu. So let's also import material, and I'm going to go back and confirm that that's exactly what we did here. Vertical side navigation menu. Let's try to import it. Vertical side navigation import, and let's import this one as well. App header. Is that correct? Import. All right. So that's it for these 2. So the next thing we're going to be doing is to start expanding these very items, all right, and adding whatever that is necessary to be added. That's what we're going to do next. First of all, we're going to start out with making sure that everything that needs to be on the home here in the main is here, so that we can actually start adding items into the individual widgets. So let's expand on this one. So after the header, the next thing we need to add is the row. All right, expanded has a row, and the row has the vertical navigation. All right, and then after that vertical navigation, which is like we have 2 items in it, so we need to add the remaining one. The remaining one is the expanded, right, which has a column. Okay, so this is going to be our main area, main content area. All right. Within that main content area, the columns, we're going to expand on it. So let's get in and add here an expanded. Expanded is going to have a child, and this child is going to be a function that we're going to build next. That function is actually going to help us to be able to switch whatever content that is active at a particular time. So I'm going to call it build main content. So build main content is going to take current page as current page, and we're going to give it a current index. So these very values don't exist yet. So we're going to define that. So let me just quickly walk through that. So on top of this place, let's quickly add this very stuff as well. So it's going to be a kind of text wrap with a padding. It's going to represent this very product stuff that we're seeing here, right? So let's quickly do that. Text with a product, and we're going to wrap it with padding. First of all, do a const wrap you with some padding. So we're going to do edge insert dot only, and we're going to do only left. We're going to do default space. Default space. That's by 2. So I want it to have like twice the size, which is like 16 times 2. Alright, for the left, and then we're going to do top to have the same default space. Okay. I'm going to add this const because it's making our stuff to look very untidy. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is what? Let's just add a little bit of style into this guy so I can hands off this particular very widget. So I'm going to do style. So we did colors the black here, so let's quickly add const here. Okay, so that's what we have here. Currently, let's just define this very stuff, and then we can see if we can actually go ahead and run the app. First of all, we need to define within this very state, in the state, to do main. So let's do that. Yeah, we need to make main a stateful widget here. So let's quickly convert this guy to stateful widget. And within our state here, we're going to define a variable called current index. It's going to be default to 0. Current index. Okay. And then let's quickly do a new method. That method is going to help us to actually do that switching. So let's quickly do it within this place. I'm going to call it, it's going to be a widget function called build, right? So let's quickly grab the name exactly of what we have, a build main content. So widget build main content is going to take a required int current page, that current page. And then we're going to return, first of all, let's try to switch current page. I'm going to do some kind of checks. So in case let's return main content. So the main content is going to be where our focus is going to be on this particular video, because that's actually what is visible in the UI design, right? So we're going to do case 1. I'm going to return container. Cost here. Three. Case 4. That's because we have actually a lot of menus and we don't want to miss out any of them. So we're going to do default to also have content. Okay, so let's see why we have a lot of reds. Remove const. Constructor being called isn't the const constructor. Alright, so meanwhile we've not really created the main content yet, so that is expected. For these ones, let's probably just remove it for now. Okay, so we have this fixed. So first of all, we need to do a quick creation of this very guy, the main content. I'm going to just quickly do a creation of the main content in this place. It's going to live, let's allow it to live in the screens. So I'm going to do main content screen. Alright, and we're going to just do the import. So it's going to be a stateful widget as well. Stateful main content. So that will be enough. Let's just import material and then we can make sure that there's no errors. And we can go ahead from there. So first of all, let's go back to the main and make sure we import that main content. But so right now we don't have an error, so we should be able to test our app next. So far we've been able to write some piece of code, but we've not really seen what we're doing. But before we click on run, let's just do a quick recap of this, what we've done so far. So we started with the main screen, right? The main is where we actually going to host the whole fragment. So we have a header, which is what we have here, the header here. Then we'll have this item here, which is the side navigation, which is this vertical side navigation. Then we'll have an expanded that lives with the column, and then that has a product and also has an expanded, which is going to become the main item at all, right? So what we try doing this this column here, this column is different, so let's check this. Yeah, this is different. Now we have this expanded that's going to be building the different main content, build main content depending on what actually was clicked from the button, from the vertical navigation. So I will see, let's quickly just run it and see what we have, and then we're not going to see something very much different right now because we've not really built something very much useful, just for us to see that our app is running. So let's quickly click on run. Our application is kind of running, you can see that, but it's very ugly and there's nothing to show. All the stuff that we've done, nothing really to show for that, and that's not really motivating. So let's quickly start doing something that will actually motivate us to actually pay us for all the effort that we actually put in so far. Right now, why is actually this way is because we don't really have anything colorful or something already in the app, but you've really done a great work already because you actually structured things the way it should be. So first of all, to give us a pat on the back, let's quickly go and start working on this app bar. So that probably is going to give us more more faster dopamine to actually work with. So let's quickly just do that. First of all, we're going to go into the widget folder. Currently you can see that we actually have only a plain container there. That's why we actually have nothing to show for that. But let's start making it spicy. So first of all, we're going to do a height for this container. Right, this container is going to have a height of 70, and after that we're going to have a decoration. So let's have decoration, box decoration. So this box is going to have a color and some kind of border button. So first of all, we're going to have colors the white, let's give it a border, and this border is going to be button border because if you check out the design, you can see that we have something that looks like it's kind of border below here, right? So that's why we want to give it a border button. So border button is going to have a border here, border, then we're going to have border side, bottom, border side. We don't have a color, so we'll go about black 12. Colors the black 12 with a width of about 0.7. Okay, so I'm going to format quickly. Let's add a little bit of const to this. Right, so we've given it a height, we've given it a decoration color of white. So let's save. Let's see if there's any change. All right, you can see that we have this has taken effect now, so you can see there's a little bit of separation of colors. We have that background color that we initially added being, popping out now. So that's a little bit of dopamine there for us. So the next thing we need to add is to add a child to this particular stuff. But before we do that, let's add a little bit of padding to this container. So we're going to do padding just below the height, padding edge insert select all. Okay, just for us to have all over. Then I'm going to use our default space. And this time around, just going to do time over 2 so that we can have like half of the space. Let's do well and import. Now you can see why we actually used to have this default stuff. It gives us like a faster way of making sure that everything is looking exactly the way we want it to look like, right? So that we don't probably use different values in different situations, which is going to give us inconsistencies. So we're going to have that default space, and the next thing we're going to have on this guy is going to be a child, and this child is going to be some set of rows, right? So I'm going to quickly just put a child, and I'm going to paste out some piece of code, and I'm going to explain it just for quick flow, right? So let me quickly just walk you through what I did. We already have this set up, right? So I just pasted this row. So let me collapse it. So this particular row, and this is what we're trying to achieve here. We have these items here. So in this flow, we have a row. This row is going to be the parent, right? And that row is the first row that you're going to see, all right? That's this particular row that is visible. But within that row that is visible, you're supposed to have another row that is going to be like multiple rows. These items are going to be in a row because we want to have like 2 texts, one that will be bold and the one that will be lighter. The reason because I'm actually using different text. I can actually achieve that with a rich text where I can format that, but I just want to use this to do that, right? And then this is also going to be a row, all right, that will lay these guys left to right. So meaning that we have like a parent row, and then we'll have like 2 sibling rows, because these 2 guys are going to be rows at the same time. So that's why if I collapse this one, all right, you can see that we have this row, all right, okay, and then we also have this row. This is supposed to host the 2 icons, but I'm just doing duplicating this, right? So this is going to hold the icon. It's going to host the first icon here and the next icon, which is this you're seeing here, these 2 icons. This is hosting the 2 texts, all right? So that's what you're seeing here. The first row has this text of fix and then the text of lab, right? So that's basically what we are trying to achieve, guys. So if I should rerun this, you should see exactly what I have on the screen. So pretty now I have something that's a little bit unique because it has a little bit of formatting, right? So just take a look at this and see what I just did there. This is what I did. All right, we have this parent stuff container, which is just what we did earlier, and then we have this row. This row I spaced it with min-axis alignment, the space between, meaning that it's going to push the 2 rows on their own. All right, the 2 independent items, because the first one is wrapped in a padding, all right, and the second one is also wrapped in a padding, so it's going to space 2 of them independently, and then the child of those are the 2 rows that hold the fixed lab, like you're seeing, which is supposed to be like this sheet though, and then the other ones here. All right, in our own case now, I have some like fixed lab and I have 2 texts here. We're going to work on actually building these other ones right away. All right, so that's what we're trying to achieve here. So what I did was having a row. The first row is going to hold the 2 texts, all right, in this padding, and then the second row Just going to hold the two icons. We're going to expand on this. So let's quickly, and then I did a bit of styling here. So the styles I did was adding a font size of 20, which I think is kind of higher. So I'll probably just do 16. Let's do 16. And let's see what we have. I'm gonna do 16 for the two. All right, that's better. Okay, so that's what we have been able to achieve. So the next thing we need to do is to work on the two icons. All right, so let's quickly remove this one. And there you can see what we have. So let's add cons to this size box. So that's what we have. We don't have any errors, so let's refresh our app and see if we have something that makes sense. All right, you can see we have this, and then there's something that is not very much right there. I think it's on the font, so we need to wrap that guy text with a center. So let's quickly wrap that with the center so that it can actually be in the center of the. Let's go again. So you can see we have that. So the next thing we need to do is to add color to. We need to change our color of this to be the primary color. All right, so it stands out now. So you can see we have PL. Yeah, that's looking nice. So let's quickly add cons to the above so that we don't have to repeat cons everywhere. All right, guys. So you can see we have something that's really making sense now. So we've had our header. It seems like the header is almost done. So we have fixed lab, and then we have these two icons here. This is notification, and this is like the profile, the logged in user, right? Super dope, right? You can agree with me. And that's what we have here. And the next thing we're going to be doing right now is to work on the vertical navigation bar. So if you go back to the main screen, so let's quickly add here const. All right, so right now we have the app header sorted out. So the next thing we're going to be doing is to do the vertical so that we can actually quickly jump into the vertical navigation. So I'm going to quickly switch to that, come and click. All right, so in this page now, there's two things that we need to do. First of all, this is always the tricky, I think it's one of the most tricky part of this tutorial, right? So if you actually understand it, it's going to help you a lot. If you already know how to create something like this, that's also nice. You can also, leave in the comment section if there's a way you think it should have actually been done better. And yeah, we're just very open to that because it's a very nice way to be dynamic when you're creating stuff like this. But this is the most simplest way I think I can actually make this for you to be able to understand it. So first of all, I'm going to make a class. The class I'm going to make is going to be a class that will represent the individual items that I'm going to be clicking. If you watch the reference again, I want to make a class that will just represent these individual icons that I'm going to be passing to the root widget. So I'm going to do that outside here. So I'm going to call it just a basic class. I'm going to call it navbar menu item, and it's going to just have a field of icon data. I'll call it icon, and I'm going to make a constructor. So the constructor is going to really be just take the, so we're going to call this required Alright, so that's just what we need for this guy, and then let's go ahead and start working on this one. So from what we have up here, what are the things that we actually need to show in our navigation? So we have like 5 items here, 1 2 3 4 5. Alright, so the class we just created is what we're going to be using to pass out this very item. Now we need to be able to track the current item that is clicked. The reason is because if we click on this one, you can see that this guy is active, and that's why this one is visible, right? Because these ones are inactive. So we need a way to be able to track that. So that's actually what we'll be doing. So first of all, let's add some of these fields that we need to show here. All right, so let's get into the next part. The next part is what we're going to be building the whole thing. So first of all, let's go down to the container. I'm going to add a padding to the container. So I'm going to do an edge insert all, and it's going to have default space by 2, meaning that we're going to have like 8, and then we need to have a height. We're going to need to have a width, because if you check the width, I want the width to be the same width with this or slightly bigger. So we have like 70 here, maybe we could just make this one 80. All right, so that's going to be what we do. So we need to make it probably 80. All right, and then the next thing we need to do is to the height. We want to make the height to be the height of the application itself. So I'm going to use a media query that of context size. So we're going to get the size, and then we're going to get the height from there. All right, next is let's add some decorations. Box decoration, and in the box decoration we need to add colors of white. The reason is because we need it to stand out from the background that we have, if you remember the first time. And then let's also add a border. This is going to be border right this time, like we did for the other one. That's the up header, right? So we do border, and the border this time around is going to be border right, if you remember. Border right, so border side, colors of black 12. and width is going to be 0.7, just like we did before. 0.7. Let me format so you can see clearly. And let's add cons to these ones to remove these squiggly lines. Alright, so that's for this. Let's see why is the error happening? Where is it coming from? Yeah, it's probably coming from I think it's probably coming from the main because we need to pass in the fields. So let's quickly pass in the fields. Okay, so the icon size, maybe we'll just pass let's say we're passing 17. Yeah, at least with this we will not have error again, and probably soon may not break our screen. All right, so you can see that that guy has showed up here. So you can see we have the space for our icons and everything to come out. So let's quickly go back to the side navigation and finish it up. So now we need to handle the content. So the content is going to be a column, so that will be the child of this container, because you can see that it doesn't have a child yet. So let's add a child. The child is going to be a column. All right, because we need to be able to lay down items from top to bottom, right? So, and how do we do that? Now we need to take these items that is coming from the list, all right, and spread it in the container. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to just going to use the spread operator and get the widget menu items, all right, and then I'm going to kind of map through it, and I'm going to take a menu item from there, and I'm going to wrap it with an inkwell that will make it kind of tappable. Inkwell. All right, so the inkwell is supposed to have an on tap. All right, and then in the on tap we're going to return this function. The function is going to use the on tap that is coming from what is actually being tapped. All right, so widget.onTap, and you know that it takes some particular information. All right, and let me check if this is nullable. The on tap is nullable. We need to make sure that we handle that here. All right, so we need to pass what is the index now. We need to return widget.menu items. All right, and we need to get the index of the particular item that we are currently in. So index of what? Index of the menu item. All right, so that's what we need to do for this guy, but that's not all. We just passed the first item, which is the on tap. All right, now we need to also do a child for this guy. So let's do child. So the child of this is going to be a padding. The padding is going to have an engine set dot edge insert dot only. So we want to only do from top. We're going to do default space times by 2. So the child of padding is going to now be an icon, right? And the child of our icon is going to now be the icon that is returned from the menu that we're iterating at the moment. So menu.icon. All right, so format this again. don't worry, I'm going to explain this so that it doesn't really confuse us. So I'm going to do a color. This color would have been passed from outside, but we want to actually handle that from the current one is actually active. All right, so let's do the color of this is going to be the widget. If the widget dot current index, which is the index that is being selected, so we're going to do widget dot current index is equals to this widget that is actually active now. So menu items dot index of menu. So we're saying if the current index is equals to this one that we actually that is currently selected, that is actually active, right? Then we need to use a different type of color. So that's the whole stuff we're trying to do here. So we're going to do primary color, which is the blue color. Else is going to use a different color, which is black color. Colors the black. Black 45. All right, let's format again. The last thing we need to add to this guy is the icon size. Icon size. So it's going to be widget.icon size, which is what was passed. So that's just going to be it for this one. And we are actually done with this vertical navigation bar. And if you are actually here, you need to give yourself a pat on the back. So the next thing we're going to be doing is bringing that to the screen and making sure that everything works as expected. So let's quickly bring that guy to the screen. But before then, let's add a little const on this one. So what do we need to do? We need to go back to the main, all right, and round up all the things we need to round up here. So how do we add these items? We need to build up the items, right? We need to build the items first. And we can do that by passing an instance of those menu items in this place. So let's quickly add some nav bar menu items. I'm going to pass some icons, all right? So the first icon I'm going to use is a Cupertino icon. Cupertino icons.home. So go and import that. So I've done that one. So I'm going to now duplicate. Yeah, so some of them is going to be Cupertino icons just for the look to actually match. So the next one is not going to probably be it's just going to be a normal icons.home, shopping cart, right? Shopping. Okay. The next one is going to be Cupertino icons.tag. It's going to tab solid. Next one is going to be Cupertino icons.group. Still going to be group solid. And then the last is going to be a regular icons.store. Right? So we save. Okay, so let's see if there's any change. So you can see that we have all the icons that we want, right? But the only thing that is not happening now is probably the clicks. Nothing really changes when we click, right? So that's what we're going to be handling next. And let's also pass. Okay, we already passed the icon size here. So the next thing we need to do is to work on the on-click of this navigation. All right, so let's do on tab. The on tab remember it's going to take an index, and this is supposed to be a function. So what we're going to do here is to actually print the index, so we can actually know if we're getting the right index. And besides that, we need to update our current index. If you remember, we had this value current index here, so we need to actually update that value. So first of all, remember we also have another attribute called current index. We need to update that current index. So we're going to say that our current index is going to be the current index that is returned right from our variable inside here. Now let's update this guy by calling setState. So setState is going to update the current index value in our widget here to be whatever index that was returned from this call or this click. All right, that's why we, if you remember in the vertical navigation here, so we did the on tap, we are passing a value to be the index that is actually active. So we said widget.menuItems or index of the menu. So the index of the menu means this is the actual index. So return that particular value when this guy is clicked. All right. So that's what we did. Let's go back to the main, and that should probably be able to help us make some switches. And remember already that we have these guys, but for this to be visible, let's go to this main content. I presume there's nothing inside right now, so but I'm going to just do a child of center. All right, center, and I'm going to add the text into it so you can see. I'm going to have something like product list. So that's it for now. Let's quickly switch to this place and see if there's a different. All right, quickly you can see that there's something has changed, and you can see that this color has changed. Now we have this color to be blue, and you can see that we have product list. Now if I switch to the next one, you can see that this guy is the active one, and then there's no items because we are returning a plain container in this place. So guys, you can see that we are actually making some progress. So if I go back to the home, you're going to see the product list. And to bring this product to the left like we have in the design, check it out. We can go back to our, let me find, where's the product? Yeah, it's supposed to be on this one. This. Let's try. Yeah, I think course axis. Yeah, that's the cross axis. Sorry. So we have the cross axis alignment, and it has helped us to align this. So the next thing we're going to be building, which is where our major work is going to be, is on the if you come here, you will see our build main content that returns a particular page. So our focus is going to be right on the main content. So we're going to start doing everything in the main content. So I'm going to go out and close out all these other places. So we're going to be working on the main context next. Main content as we are here right now. So we need to start making some of the changes that we need to make here. So you can see what we have. Let's run the app again so that we can actually have something to show. But first of all, we're going to be making some helper functions, all right? Because what we'll be doing is more of, if you check what we have in the reference, you can see that this looks like a table view, all right? So we first of all need to make some of these helper functions and some kind of extra customized widgets. So this is like a table. So we have like a table view here, So, and you know how table works. A table is a collection of right, table rows. So if we have this table, we also have some extra informations like this, which is a table row, and inside the table row we also have something else that is called a table cell, which is like an individual item in the table row. All right, so in this particular table now we have like multiple table cells. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So each item in this place is going to be a table cell, and it lives inside a table row, and the table row forms the table itself, right? So these are what we're going to be customizing. So we're going to be making some kind of widget that will form all this information. The first is going to be a table item or a table cell. All right, that would form each individual item in the table row, and then we're also going to make a table row. Then with that, we should be able to iterate through all the data we have. All right, and then we should be able to actually go ahead and display our information. So, but before we actually do that, we need to create some helper functions, like I said, that will actually help us to make sure that everything we're going to be doing is going to be easy, sort of, and makes our life easier. All right. Also, like the last time I said, we should probably provide a set of data, right? Some set of data from what we already had in initial startup. So if you could just make up data yourself, that will form the data we're actually going to be populating in the table. But if you don't have that, you can also take the one that I'm going to probably update. So before we continue, I'm probably just going to show you that now, so you can also go through that and probably type it out, but it's going to be difficult for you. I would prefer you have your own data, right, where you could actually make changes as you want, just for test purposes. So you could just duplicate what you have in your code from the starter code, and be able to duplicate and make small changes, all right, based on what we have. But if you can actually follow this one, I'm going to be pasting some data, and I'm going to try as much as possible to make sure you could copy that. So I'm going to probably scroll up from here, from the first. All right, so you could always probably pause the video and be able to grab all the information, or you could just copy one of them and duplicate and make changes. I think that's the best fast way. Each one you choose, anyone you choose should also be fine for you to be able to get this data down. So I'm actually using like 10 data, like 10 data sets basically, for me to be able to simulate. All right, so that being said, now we can close out on the data and go back to the main content. That's where we are going to be working on, and that's where all of our task is going to be. For the rest of this tutorial, it's going to be on that place. It's actually some places that I need to really make sure that I take time to explain to you, because sometimes the code get longer and then it can be tricky to follow. So, but I believe we can be able to do that because we've done something bigger than this, right? Now, first of all, the first thing I need to do is to do a function. This function is going to help us to get a friendly message, a friendly display of category. If we go back to our data, like here, you can see the type of category we have is this kind of product category or clothing. All right, so which is not it's not that friendly, but this is not where we need to worry about. I think it's in this product status, probably out of stock or active. We need to have something that is very much friendly. So that's what I'm going to be doing now. That's going to be it. And then we need to add a size to this size work, so we need to add a height. So height is going to be of 70. Alright, so that's what we did for this one. We've built the item that is going to help us to create the individual cells. So the next item we need to build right now is going to be the row. Alright, the row that will form a single item. But the first we should build first is this one. That's going to be the header. Right, so let's go ahead and make that. So instead of building a table, row for normal data, we're going to build one that has some missing items, because if you look at this and see some of these items were missed, and this is just because it's a header. We don't need to provide everything, even though, because we don't need to have a missing column in a particular row, but we can put a container that doesn't return any text or a visible view. Alright, so let's start with building that first. So we're going to call that build product header, something like that. But this is not going to be a table cell right now, so it's going to be a table row. I'm going to omitting one cell here. It's not like we're not going to add a cell, but the cell will have nothing inside. So I need to create extra of this. So I've done the first one, so I need to do 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8. 8 extra, right? So I'm going to paste extra 7, right? But this second one is not going to have item inside. So the child here is just going to be an empty container. All right, it's just going to be a container without anything. But the next ones should have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's format. Right, so if it is formatted now, I'm going to take a count again. So with the total number of items we should have in a row is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's confirm. So for that to be easy for us, I'm going to probably take this guy. I'm going to be collapsing that, see if that works. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. So we need extra item 9. Alright, but the last item is just going to be nothing but a container, because that is an action tab, action column. So we don't really need to have anything here. So just like the second column here, it doesn't have anything. Alright, now that we have a particular row, so I think it makes sense for us to bring that to the screen so we can be able to debug. Now, when do we do that? We need to do that in this particular place. So let's work on that. So how do we start? We need a container to wrap everything inside. So we already have a container, but this container needs to be styled somehow, right? Let's start. Let's take a look at what we have. Right, so this container has, I think it makes sense that we wrap this in a column, because we need to have these other views. So a column would suffice before we have the table somewhere here, right? So that's, start building our stuff from here. So we'll have a column. Or let me just wrap this guy with a column. Change this to column. And the column has children. Okay, so in children, let's start expanding from here. Starts with the parent content. So the parent content that we're going to build out for this column is going to be a container, right? A container that will form the outer box. If you check the reference, so I'm going to pull up the reference again. So if you look at the reference, we need to have this white container like a border so that we can format it to look where we want it. All right, if you look at what we have currently, you can see that we have the product, and the product is actually outside this very outside this container. So that's what we need to format that now. So how do we start? So first of all, let's leave out the child of the container, and then let's do a little bit of formatting on that. And before that, after that, we're actually going to need to wrap this guy with flexible or expanded, because we want it to really fill the screen. Let's go ahead and wrap it with the flexible. So I'm just going to quickly do wrap widget. I'm going to call it flexible. The reason is because we want it to be able to fill the screen, right? Fill the available space. All right, that being done, we're going to go ahead and style this container now. So first of all, let's give it a width. So the container is going to get a width, and the width is going to be the size of the screen. So we're going to do media query. fix afterwards. So let's go ahead and start plugging in other things. So the first thing we're going to be doing as the child of this container, because we want this place to be kind of scrollable, so we're going to make the first child of this container to be a single child scroll view. So the single child scroll view is going to go ahead and actually have a child of column to enable us stack every other thing that we want to do inside. So that's just going to be the basic setup here, and I hope you're getting what I'm trying to explain. So I'm going to show you from the reference now. This is the container. The container is the white background that we have, but because we want this table to be scrollable in case we have longer data, we should be able to scroll through them. All right, so that's why the first child is going to be a single child scroll view. Then the single child scroll view is going to have a container, a column, sorry, and the column is going to have this guy first. And what are we going to have here? From what I'm seeing, we're going to have first of all a row as the first child of this very column. All right, I'm not going to be adding this particular one because we don't really need it per se. It's a kind of tiny type of UI. You could actually add that if you want, but the implementation we're going to be doing is just going to have filters that when we type something here, probably by categories, it's going to filter the table and show only the one that falls within the category. So we're not going to be using this kind of filters right now, but what I'm trying to explain is the hierarchies that we have. So we have a first row as a child of the column, right? And then the next one, which is going to be like the table, is going to probably fill up the whole space, which means that's where expanded or flexible also comes in again in this particular. So we are having a container that has a single child scroll view as the first child, probably as the only child, and then the single child scroll view now has two direct siblings or two direct children, which is a row and a table. Basically, that's what I'm assuming. And just for you to have an idea of what I'm going to be doing afterwards. All right, so we're going to be doing the next level of action here by adding that first item here, which is going to be this row that will have this information. So let's get So, but being that said, now let's quickly go and build out the next level of widget here. This is going to be a button. This is also going to be a button. So I want it to be a custom widget. So I'm going to be building this individual widgets separately so we can come back and use it in this place. And alongside, we can add this guy as well. So the next thing we need to do is to step into the widget folder, since we already have our app running, and then we can see this, but we need to be able to build the other informations here. So let's quickly do that next. We're going to be creating a widget probably called button widget, you know, our customized button widget or stuff, whatever we want to call it, and then we can use it alongside in this row. All right, so I'm going to do that next. Let's see how creating a button widget. So let's head into the widget folder. We're going to create I'm going to call it button widget. Right, so button widget is the name of the file. So let's just create a stateless widget. So we're going to do stls for stateless widget, and we're going to call it button widget. All right, that's just what we want for this guy. And let's go ahead and go back to our main content so we can actually see where we can use that. So in main content, if you remember the last time what we left out, we left off here in the container, right? So the container has all the basic setups that we want it to have, and then we were able to actually get up to scroll view. The scroll view has this information. So the next thing we need to add is going to be, what are we missing here? So I think we're actually missing something on this. We're missing a border radius for this guy. All right. So let's quickly add that. Within our decoration, let's make sure we add that, because I'm not sure we've added that before. So let's do border radius. It's going to be border radius, the circular. Sorry. Border radius. And then we're going to pass border radius of 4 to it, just 4. And then what else do we need to add? We need to add a color. Right. I think we've already added the color here, so we'll have a color, we'll have a background color already for this. So let's check out the reference again. Let's check out our app, see what we have. Okay, you can see that we have a little bit of radius to our container that forms, which if you check, you can see there's a little bit of radius to, we've been able to achieve that now. So let's keep populating that. I'm going to scale this a little bit down. So the next item in this very list is going to be a row. That's just going to be the child of this guy. So let's go ahead and add child. The child is going to be row. Okay, so let's check again on the run. So if you click here, you can see that we have, right? We have a value, so we can type, but you're not seeing the border. That's the reason why we have that. All right. Now that being done, because we're wrapping this guy in an add our icon, our button now, and the button should be able to actually switch to the other side because expanded is at the center, then it's expanding to fill up the screen. Let's plug in the button now. The button is going to be somewhere around here, all right? Because we already have it expanded. So just right after this, so go to add our button widget. Icon. Yeah, let's check if we actually have the name correctly spelled. All right, so can import. Yeah, if you remember, we have some required attribute like label and on top. So go ahead and add those two. So right now the label is going to be filter. If you remember from the reference, if you check the reference again, you can see we have filter here, and the icon. We're going to leave the icon. We're not going to plug in a new icon because we have a fallback icon, which is this arrow down. Alright, so that's what we have. First of all, let's bring it to the screen. So we're gonna save now, and let's see if we have something that is visible. So we're gonna go ahead probably to rerun the app and see. Alright, you can see that we have this. Yeah, and then we need to add icon. Since the icon, there's no icon fallback basically. Maybe let's check. Yeah, there's no icon fallback. There we have only fallback for the color of the icon, so we need to plug in the color, right? We need to put the icon basically. So let's do that. So the icon is going to be icon. So we have icons. It's keyboard. Keyboard arrow down outlined. So go to save. Then let's check again. Alright, so if you check, you can see that we have the filter stuff there. And on our on click, I'm just going to print whatever that is in the, nothing serious basically. Let's just print filter click. Right, let's go back and view this. So if you click, we're going to watch the logs here. My log is quite small because I wanted it to be seen. I wanted to have better space in the editor to see what I'm just going to pull it up a little bit, and then we're going to check out on the tap function. You can see filter clicked. So if you see, what we did was we were able to actually use expanded to push out this guy within the space. So because if you're typing, our stuff is going to really go all the way like this, right? That means the edit text is really spreading from here to here. That's the essence of using expanded for that specific one, and then other children, other siblings of this particular edit text doesn't really have expanded, because we want them to stay where they are, while this one actually expands, basically. It can be helpful sometimes when you're working on something of this nature, right? And the text field, it looks like it's somehow below, right? So I might need to probably wrap the text field inside the padding just to bring it up a little bit from bottom. So I'm going to wrap with the padding. I'm going to do a set of symmetric, and I'm going to do vertical, and I'm going to do vertical default space. Alright, I'm going to save now, and let's take a look at it. If you check out when we're typing, you can see that was somewhere below. You can see that it's kind of aligned now, so our typing should be somewhere, around the center. Alright guys, so that's all we need to do for this one. So the next thing we're going to be doing is to plug in the remaining buttons. So if you check out the bottom, we have export and we have the new product. So that's what we're going to be doing now. Let's go ahead and collapse this particular view, and we can go ahead and plug in the next item in the list, which is going to be just outside the container that holds the after here. Let's put a bit of size box here. So I'm gonna do size box width of about our default space. Two. Right. And then we're going to plug in a new widget. It's going to be a row, right? Because we remember when I was walking us through this, you remember that we said that this guy is a row because it has some items here, right? Like inside this container that is wrapping the whole thing, we have these rows where we're actually spreading icons in the text on this button. Now outside there, we're going to do also this particular button now is going to be in a row so that we can be able to spread them out. All right, so we're going to do a row, and then the children of that row, let's add a cons to this size box so that it stops complaining. And the first chart is going to be exactly the same type of button we used there, so we're going to just copy it so that we don't waste all the time. Right, but this time around, the icon is going to be a different icon. Okay, the icon is going to be the same icon, just the color. Right, so the filter is going to change to export. If you remember, we did not apply color to this one because the default color matches the color we want to have. So we have export, then we're going to say that export is clipped. And then we need to apply icon color, right? Icon and border color. So icon or label and icon color is going to be, we have this color we were using, I think it's called, is that primary color? Yeah, primary color. So we'll save. Let's see what we have. Okay, icon. Yeah, we've added the label and icon, so we need to also add the border color. Border color is still primary color. Then we need to add border radius as well. So border radius is 4, I think. So let's save. Let's take a look again. You can see we have some kind of nice button around here. All right, so the next is going to be a different type of button. Now this button is not going to have we're not going to be using this reusable button. Basically, we're going to be using something, just a container, right? Container to do that. So, but before that, I'm going to do a size block so that we can have a space between the two of these. I'm going to do is going to be our default space again. Default space 2, meaning that we're giving it like 8. Alright, so this, put a comma here. Okay. Perfect. So new product. Now, what do we need to do? We need to make this guy to actually go to the other side. So how do I achieve that? If you go to the parent row, there's the first row that actually holds everything. All right, so that hold the container, and I think here, that's where we should. So if you check, this is the container, first container, all right? This container is a small space, and there this is the row, the second row that holds the button. So we are spacing them apart from here. So let's check it out again. Perfect. So that's what we wanted to achieve, guys. So you can see that we have something that is probably, our screen is popping out a little bit, all right? And if you're still here by now, I need to give you a pat on the back, because you've really tried. We've really written a lot of code already, and we still have a lot to write, basically. So the next level of action we're going to be doing is going to be building the widget that will represent a particular table cell. So if you check out the reference, you can see there is this rows. So we need to be able to build, I think we've built the header, we've built this table header that will represent the heading of the table. It doesn't change, it's static. But we need to build another dynamic one, because the data we're going to be passing into this place is going to the data is going to be dynamic, right? Sorry, the data is going to be dynamic, so we're going to be generating the stuff from our data set, and then our UI, which will represent this particular row, is the next thing we need to construct. We already have some individual items to use to construct them, but it's just for us to make it up. All right, I think first of all we need to set up the table, bring up the first guy, so that we can have a view of the table. Then we can go ahead and I'll start plugging in other stuffs that I think is missing. So first of all, let's get down to that. We're going to get into the table and set up the table, and then start doing all the other stuff that we need to do. Into the table part, this is going to be the most tricky part of this very tutorial. So I want you to actually take a chill pill, because it's about to get more serious. So outside of our row, just outside of the whole stuff we've been doing, so we're going to be plugging somewhere within the column, right? Because everything is, if you check out the reference, that we have this column right inside the container, and we're stacking everything. So this is the first row. This table is going to also be on its own as a table, but it's stacked below the other item here, which means this is a container. So just right after that very stuff outside the padding, because I think we're using padding to wrap our container, right? The container hosts every other stuff. So yeah, check out this. So this is a flexible. The flexible, let me collapse that. The flexible is holding everything, right? And within that we have, so that's what we have. We have this container, right? And then we need to actually plug this guy in between here, right? So that it's just going to be a sibling alongside with the flexible. So the flexible is going to be what we hold the other one. That's the container that we have here, right here, right? So let's take. So we have a single child scroll view. Sorry. Yeah, this is what we're looking at. This is the column we're looking at here. So let's find that column. Yeah, right there. Alright. So just below that particular place, we're going to add our table. Alright. So what are the things that we need to set up here? First of all, we need to set up some column width. Alright. So do column width. And column width is actually like a map of an index of the column with the width or the size that we want to give it, right? So we're going to be opening a map. So I'm just going to do const, open a map here. And this map is going to be indexed, and then the value. So the column starts with index 0, and the value is going to be a fixed column width. And we're going to give this one 25 because this is kind of small size column. All right, it's going to hold the checkbox. So I'm going to do a duplicate, just copy. Yeah, so everything is aligned right now. So the next thing we need to do is we've gotten our root table and we've set some columns and we have given it some sort of borders. So the remaining thing for this table is to have the children. The children is going to be where we're going to be plugging our data. If you can see here, you can see that I have this attribute, these children, that's going to now be items in this table, right? So we're going to go ahead and create that. And it's going to be a dynamic sort of thing, right? So remember, we've actually built some other stuffs already. So I'm going to do children table. Yeah, and the first item for this is going to be our header. Remember, we built a header somewhere here, build product header. So I'm going to plug in that very value there. So build product header. Right, that's going to be the first child, and I'm going to save. And let's quickly take a look at what we have to see if we are making progress at all. If there's an error to treat. Okay, you can see, yeah, we have something there. Since we have a lot of duplicates, basically, so we have duplicate stuffs, and that's not what we need. But you can see that we'll have something. So we're going to be making changes to this. The only thing we're supposed to have here that is the checkbox is going to be the first one. Other ones are going to be a different thing. So we're going to update our header, right? So we have checkbox as the first, but you can see that we still have checkboxes all over. So we're going to make changes to that. So we, instead of using checkboxes here again, we need to take a cue from the reference and update them. You can see that there's nothing here because in the reference there's nothing in the reference, also in this column. All right, so we are omitting this guy, but in essence everything here is actually 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 columns. All right, so we are making sure that it has 9 columns so that when we now want to plug the values, they are going to match. So we're not going to say because we don't have up to that, we need to make sure that the headers, they actually match. So everything that's going to be following here is going to be exactly 9 columns, right? So that's it for this guy. You can see that we've been able to put the first item here, and that's basically how we're going to be doing the next thing. So but we've done most of the job, right? I think the remaining thing is for us to build product. We've done the build product item, which is the individual item that we're using here, and then we've also done this helper function friendly status, where we're actually getting using the status to actually return a specific friendly status. So you're going to see where we're going to be using that next. So the major thing that remains for us to finish this tutorial is actually to get the data and iterate through the data and then render it inside this place. Also, I think there's still tiny differences, tiny stuff that we need to do, which is this guy. All right, once we've populated our data, we're going to be taking a look at that. So we're going to do that. So the next thing we need to do is to build our table item, right? So we're going to be building that just right above this build product header, right? So let's define. It's just going to be almost the same thing we did for the sorry. The product header is going to almost have the same type of thing. So it's going to be a table row. Sorry. And let's start table row. and all right, table row. So it's going to be of type table row, and we're going to call it build product tile, right? And then we're going to actually take a product. The product is going to be a product from our individual item, right? So we're going to do product like this, product, and then we're going to probably return a table row. Let's do return table row. All right, and then we're going to start adding individual stores. So every table row is probably supposed to have a key, and we're probably going to use, I don't know what is specifically different or unique in our table. So, but for now, let's just add a key. So the key for now, we're going to do value key, and it's going to take, say, product price. This is not the best thing to use as a unique ID for this, but what can we do? Assuming we have like IDs in this particular product, which you can actually modify the model and have an ID and probably change the IDs to probably have a unique values. I'm just trying to tell you that you need to make sure that your whatever value, which is if we're actually receiving this data from the API, there's supposed to be a unique value that we can actually use to make our key to hold. All right. So that being said, now the next thing we need to add after that is going to be the children of this particular row. All right. So the children, what are we going to put in the list of children? So it's still going to be almost what we did for our header. If you check our header, because you can see that our table header has children as well, and we're still using this build individual items to actually hold that. So that's what we're going to be doing, and the first is going to still be what we did for our header. It's going to be a checkbox. So I think it makes sense for us just to copy this guy and drop it here as the first item. All right, and the next thing we need to add is going to be an image. It's going to be an image, because if you check reference, you can see that we'll have an image view here, and the assumption is that we're actually getting this image view from the network. All right, so we're not storing any image in our model, in our app, so we're using an image from the network, so we're going to be using network image. So that means we need to add the next item here. It's going to be an image.network. Right, so let's add that. So we're going to grab the build item, but the child is going to be a little different. So I'm just going to paste that here. Let me format so you can see clearly how this is organized. All right, on the child of the build product item, I'm going to replace it from padding into a different thing. So I'm going to change this guy to image.network. Image.network, and the value is going to be product photo. All right, and then if you remember that image.network has a fallback stuff, which is an error builder. So within that place, we need to fall back at something if it doesn't really return something, which is possible. Error builder. So the error builder takes a context. And it also takes an error. And it takes the stack trace, but I'm just gonna omit that one. Alright, so within the builder, I'm going to return a container that will just look like the image when there's nothing there to actually show. So I'm going to return a container. and this container is not going to have a child, but just going to have width, height. So I'm going to do 40 for the width, height also to be 40. I'm going to put a little bit of decoration, just a trivial decoration, nothing so special here. Decoration, box decoration. Right, and then we're going to add color. Colors, blue, gray, and we're going to add what next? We need to make a shape for that. So the shape, so box shape, rectangle. I'm going to format so you can see clearly what we have. I'm going to end this with a semicolon, right? Okay guys, so that's what we have. We've gotten 3 items in our row, right? So we have the first is the checkbox, we have the profile photo, right? Yeah, so we have 2 items right away as the children. So the next item we need to build is going to be relatively, almost all of them are going to be like text, but some parts are going to be more tricky. Like this place we are going to have kind of columns. So we're going to have here columns and rows. The reason is that we need to be able to stack this one on top of each other, and if you also see that we have size and color, and these are individual items from the variants. So that's the place we need to focus. But I'm going to do a little bit of copy and paste for the remaining here text. We have like up to this point, so I'm going to do a copy and paste. Let's add a const to this value. So let's do grab this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop a text there, and then I can explain what we have, right? So that's going to make more sense, right? So let me just grab just almost what we have, but it's going to have a little formatting and styling. So we have this build item, right? So the build product item has padding, just a regular padding, and then it has the product name, right? Now there's a style we've given it, so just we're borrowing from text theme so that it can have a uniform body. So there's nothing so much different here. And what else do we need to add here? We need to grab this guy again, like 3 times, so that we can add product name, category and SKU. Product name, that's the first one. Product category, yeah, here. So this is where we probably need to use the helper function as well. Yeah, okay, sorry, we can get the value, but name, so we get the name value here, and then we can make it to uppercase. Because since the categories is kind of let's check the name again in the reference. So the category is actually uppercase. All right, so the next is going to be product.SKU. If I'm not mistaken, yep, after that you have that. All right, so that's all for this. So the next thing we're going to be doing is to go through the values we're going to be getting. So this place is going to be a little tricky, so but it will be easy for you to grab. So but what I need to do right now is I need to paste the extra values here. So I'm going to paste extra values. That's what I'm going to be doing. Is I'm going to do a paste of these same items that we have here up to 1, 2, 3. All right, and then I can come back onto this one and then we can make changes to that. So first of all, I just want it to be seen what we have. So right below this guy, I'm going to do a paste, and again. That's for the 3 items. And then we also need the last one. The last one is just going to be, we're going to build that design. We've not done that yet. So this particular menu item. So all right, the last in this list is going to be status, right? That's correct, yeah. So price for status. So let's check where we stopped. The last change we made was the SKU. So next, within this place now, this is supposed to be the price, product price. All right. So we're going to make it auto string because since our product is an integer. All right. Okay. So let's work on the next item here. This next item here is the where we need to do a lot of kind of mapping and rendering different rows and columns. So let's do that. Come back to the tricky part. So just after the price, we check our reference. If you check here, just before the price, we have this item. This item, you can see that we will have this value here, and then we'll have this other value here. So this value is in a column order with this one, and this one has a size and color, and the size and color is in a row direction with each other because these are different values. All right. So if you check our data, you can see that we have kind of list of variants of colors, product variants, which is in a list. So we need to be able to iterate through them to be able to display, right? And then the variant is on its own. So and the variant count is on its own. So we need to lay the variant count on top of the variants. See how tricky that's sounding. But when we start doing that, you're going to understand. So I'm going to just cut out this text, right? You're going to be needing it later. So I'm going to cut out the text. So the first child of this padding is going to be a column, right? Column with children. And then the first child, let me first of all do kind of alignment here. So because we want the column count, this variant count to be aligned with the initial position. So I'm going to do cross-axis alignment on this column. So I'm going to do cross-axis alignment, start. And just below that, I'm going to now paste that padding, the text that we take out, and then it's going to have product variant count. That product variant count is that variant count. String. Right. So it's going to have variant count on string, and alongside its the sibling is going to now be a row, right? So we're going to have a row, and this row is going to have children, all right? And the first child is going to be just a text that holds like a label, which is going to have varies on, right? Just for us to have something very clear. And then the next is going to be the products now. So we're going to run through the product. Let's spread it here. Product. Product variant. Map. So once we go through all the product and then we should be able to return something. I'm going to return a flexible because this text is going to probably overflow, right? So that's why we need to add it. So I'm going to put here variant, and just as a child of the text, I'm going to put, probably let me paste that same text that I have before, right? So the text, and I'm going to get now variant dot name because we already have, we are getting the value from this variant. All right, so we're going to do variant name. So what did we do here? We are still maintaining the same kind of styling that we used for all of them. So this is the same text theme, to and everything. But what we did differently here is that we are going through the row and we're adding a text varies, and then we're iterating through the product variant, which has like multiple, is a list or kind of, or a treble. And then we're going through that, and then we're returning a flexible. We're wrapping our text with a flexible in case it kind of overflows. And then we're returning a text for each of these values, so it will spread that value in alongside with the children of this row. So that's what we did. If you check it again, and you can see that it's kind of tricky, but it's simple. You just need to understand how the stuff works. We have a column where we're stacking stuff from top to bottom, right? Let me bring that to view. Go here, we can see we have a column here, right? The column has two children on top of each other, the count, variant count, and then this item now. And then this is a row because we have first one, which is the text, which is this varies on. And then there's a row now. This row is holding the varies on, and then it has, we're now mapping through the variant count, variant items. Then we're rendering it text, all the values that is within this particular variant count. Now we're spreading them alongside here as well, which will have size and color. All right, that's the name, if that makes sense. So, but it will make more sense when we actually start showing that on the screen. First of all, I'm going to add, first of all, we're going to go ahead and add something else, just so that the column will be complete. So we needed the last item on this particular row because we've been able to spread the last item. So we've added the price already. This is the price here. So it's okay, remaining the status. We also have the status, right? So let me check. Yeah, I think we should change that to product to status. And then how do we change the status? Because if you check, our status is supposed to be a friendly name. So that's what we're going to add. Get friendly. Remember that value let me get that function again. So friendly status, we're going to copy that. We're going to use it. So that guy takes product status and is going to use it to now return a friendly text. So we're going to do product status. Alright, so it takes this value and then it processes it and then it returns friendly text here. So that being done, we need to just drop the last item, which is going to be the action, right? But we're going to come back and work on this one later. So, but just for the column to have a complete row, 9 items in the row, I'm just going to copy this and drop here. Alright, and I'm going to make a change to this. So the child is going to be not, it's not going to be a text, just going to be a container. The container is where we're going to start working on after. Okay, so that's being done. Let's quickly go, and right now you need to grab a cup of coffee or any liquid that you love, because we're about to show what we've done so far on the screen. And it's always good to actually relax, because a lot of things could break, but that's what programming is about. Programming is about solving problems, so you shouldn't actually run away from things breaking. Things will definitely break, but your strength comes when you're able to actually fix them. So that's what we're going to be working on next. Let's get that value, the data, everything we've done. Let's bring it to the front. Let's get into it. This is the most spicy part of this tutorial, so let's quickly go up to the state part of the screen. So we're going to define two variables. These variables are going to be of type rows, of table rows, right? So just below here, we're going to have to define the value that will hold these very items. So we're going to do treble. This treble is going to hold a table row, right? So it's in a treble of the table row because the item, remember when we built our widget table row, you know, it's returned a table row, right? As in build our list table tile, remember. So I'm going to show you that. So I'm making it nullable, then we're going to do product. We're going to call this one product list, right? So let's import this guy. Is that correct? A treble of table row. There's a wrong spelling here. Alright, so we also need to have the second one. The second one is going to be when we're actually doing a filter. Table row. Right, and this is going to be filtered. That product. Right, so this is going to be filtered product list. Now we need to define the need state here. So we want this guy to load when our app is being set up, the UI is being set up, right? So just before the need state, we're going to do, or let's probably just do it. Yeah, after everything is set up, I'm going to do widget. So widget binding. Widget binding dot instance. The add string convert. Alright, inside here, I want to make sure that everything is on the screen is drawn before we start doing this. So we're going to now assign our product list. It's going to be our data. If you remember, the data we actually are modeled, which is in the inventory data right here. So this value, the variable we're returning here, this product inventory list. So equals to product inventory list, right? Dot map. We're going to map through that. So let's import this in case it's not. Let's try and import product inventory list. Seems this is not to import. Okay, so it's imported now. So product list dot map, and when we map, we're going to return the build, the item we just designed, build product row tile, all right? And we're going to be passing individual product. We're going to be passing product to it. So this mapping, this is a product, a list of products. Each one will have a product inside. So this value should be a product. So that's what we're passing to this one. All right. So we iterate through the product list, and then we return. We build a row from each one. All right. And then we assign the whole list to this guy, which is an iterable of table rows. And this particular guy is what we need to plug into the table, all right, because it's a list of items. So we just go down below where we added the product header. So here as a following, as a sibling, so we're going to spread and we drop the product list here. So let's see why we have issue. Yeah, this is nullable, so make it nullable. All right, and then let's cross our fingers and save, and then let's see what we have on the screen. Yeah, I might probably need to probably rerun. So let's run again. I expect anything to happen basically. Yeah, I'm excited. Wow. And you can see that we have something, guys. Can you check this out? You can see that we have something. You can see that everything scrolls. All right. So there's a little thing that we need to probably touch up. You see that this guy is because of the flexible. That's why we actually have, if not, we have had an overflow. All right. You can see that our out of stock and active is actually perfectly laid out. So we need to touch up on that particular place. That's why we should actually get this guy first on the screen so that we can see what we've done so far and we can be proud of what we're doing, guys. And you can see that we have something on the screen. So first of all, we need to go to the price and add some dollar values to it. So everything we're going to be doing is going to fall back to our product row tile. So coming back to the place where we did the mapping, if you check out, you can see that we have a variant, and then we have varies on color, size, varies on color, varies on. Seems something is not color size. Color size is that? Maybe this is a duplicate value. I can see that, but let's see what we can do. First of all, we need to go to the price. Varies on variant name, so we need to modify our order data. Seems that's where the error is coming from. But for this guy, we need to wrap this guy in a string. We're going to add a dollar sign. This dollar sign is going to be the sign, and we're going to escape that. Then we're going to add this guy here, string interpolation. So let's check out again. So you can see we have dollar sign. So it seems there's a space, we don't need a space. So everything is probably coming together. Alright, that's okay for this, but for this particular place, we may probably need to increase the column size. So we'll have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the fifth column, we need to add something to the fifth column, just to be sure. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We need to add a fifth column. Let's see what we can do for that. 4. So we can do something like 150. Doesn't seem to have changed, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 5. So 0, this is the 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3, 5. Oh, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's do another one. And let's do 170 again, just to be. Alright guys, so we've been able to get that. So this is the first zeroth index of the column 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see that everything is kind of okay, but we need to probably have a little bit of spacing between the color and size. So how do we do that? Let's go back to the row, the place where we did the mapping of the variants. We have the rows and columns. So I'm going to add, I'm just going to be somehow varies on text. So I'm going to add variant of name, and I'm going to just wrap this guy string interpolation. I'm going to add here to variant.name. I'm going to add a comma here and just let's check that out. Alright, so that's what we have so far, guys. So you can see that we've really gone far with this. So let's check out the reference and see where we are missing. Now we have something very close to this. The final touches we're going to be doing is actually on this pagination and then lifting the style of this to be a little bit of faded out, and last but not the least, styling this particular status and then this other action part, right? So that with getting this guy to fade out a little bit, so we're going to change the color. So we're going to scroll down inside our build table row tile. So just here we're going to add the checkbox. So we're going to add a color to that checkbox. So how do we do that? Just let's first of all remove this padding, right? And then we're going to add a side to that checkbox. It has a side color, so side, and it's going to be a border side as well. The side, the color, color of the border side is going to be colors.gray. Alright, then we're going to do a width of 1. Other side, width of 1. Alright, next thing we need to do is also to have a focus color. The focus color is going to be colors black and 45. Right, so we're going to save that and see what we have. Alright, so you can see the colors being faded out. Now next thing to do is to check out our we need to work on this. I think the faster one is going to be this guy, so I'm going to quickly do that. So we need to replace that guy with a different item altogether. So I'm going to have, let's focus on this one. So it's going to be an icon, so it's going to be on the last row, just right after status, I think, right here. Okay, so instead of having these, we're going to remove the padding. Let's remove this entirely. Let's use a raw table cell, right? Because our build item is actually made of table cells, so I'm going to do child of the table cell is going to be a container. and that would be for this one. So let's add const here so that it stops complaining. Let's take a quick look again on the UI to see changes that we have there. All right, you can see that we have this, right? So that's making sense. So I think we can probably reduce the this to be like 25, 25, 25, and we can give our size here so that it shrinks a little bit. So let's give it something like 18 or 17. Let's see how that looks. Okay, seems this is nice. This is better. All right, guys. So quickly, the last but not the least in the touch-up is going to be on the status. So the status is going to be a little bit of work somehow. So we start out with our normal build item with the padding, but before the text, we need to take out this text and wrap it with a container. Maybe let's wrap this guy with a container. Let's just cut it out because there's just going to be a little of logic around it. So let's start with a container. The container is going to have a height 35, width of about 120. Yeah, the reason is because if you check out our reference again, you can see that we have longer width than the height, right? So that's what we're guessing. And then we can give it a decoration. Same box decoration. And we're going to give it a shape. Box shape. Rectangle. Right, and then the color has to be conditional. So we're going to check the product status. So product status, if it's active, all right, we're going to give it a colors that are green. Sorry, green, not gray. With some opacity of 0.3. Else we're going to give it colors red with a little opacity of 0.3 as well. All right. And then let's format so you can see clearly. I need to also give this a border radius, right? I'm just gonna, why is this guy complaining? All right, so probably we can use, let's leave it this way, but I know we can actually use product or status dot something like this. We'll do product status dot active, right? That would be the best bet for that. But because we're actually on a text level and the value that is being returned is not of this type, so that's why I'm using a string, right? But this would be the best option. All right, now I think we can actually do that as well. All right, that's wrong. I think we're supposed to do this dot name. We need to get the name of this, right? So name, so we shouldn't have issues now because it's a string. All right, then what do we need to do next? I told you we need to add a border radius to this decoration. Border radius, radius. circular, and we are doing 50 for this. All right, so that's it for the decorations. Then let's add a child to the container. Child is going to be a center, and then the center is now going to have that stuff we cut, but the text we copied before. So center, child. I'm going to paste that text now. We're going to be changing some things as well. I think the only thing we might need to change is the color. The color will have to be conditional, right? Instead of returning this. So we're going to do the same checks we are doing here. So we're just going to grab this guy and use ternary operator for the colors. So we're going to drop the color here. So if the color is active, we're going to return colors.red. So let's take out the opacity, colors.red is active, colors.green. Else, colors.red. So ternary start with question mark. All right, format, and so you can see from here we have two variants of colors depending on the conditions that's been met. So I'm going to save, and then we're going to go back to the reference to our UI to see what we've done so far. So let's give it a little bit of time. It's kind of reloading and updating the screen because. So guys, you can see what we have. This looks nice. It looks nice. So we can see out of stock. Check it out. Check out what we have, guys. This makes a lot of sense. So I think there's a little bit of the text here. Probably we might need to touch it a bit. Let's check out the reference. So it's kind of smaller. So what do I need to do? I'm going to remove, instead of using this text, instead of having text to have body text 2, I'll probably just how do we do that? Check our UI again and see. Yeah. So let's do in the copy width here. I'm going to change the font size. Font size. Make it 16. And let me see what that gives us. 16 is quite higher, so something like 12. Yeah, I think I'm comfortable with this. So guys, if you're still here right now, you've done a lot of work and you really deserve some accolades. I can tell you, you deserve accolades. You can see how our table scales. You can also see the small border in between the table, right? So we've done really a lot of work. So the next thing we're going to be doing is just to wrap up the whole stuff is being able to filter this table to return based on whether we are putting in something that looks like the name or the category or probably the price. All right, so we're going to do that next, and then we're going to also add the remaining information here, which is going to be the pagination. So in the pagination part, I'm going to be dropping some just piece of code, and I'm going to explain that so that we don't really waste much time, because we've done a really great work here already. And the sweet thing of what we've done so far is that this guy can actually run on the web, and then we can give it a shot and so you can actually see, because I told you that this is a cross-platform application. Currently I'm running this on a desktop, and you can see that this is a Flutter application it's just running like every other application on my Mac. All right, so I'm going to quit that now, and I'm going to switch to run on the web, and I'm going to bring the browser. So I'm going to be using Chrome here to run. I'm going to run Chrome just for us to confirm that this really works. You understand? So deep links to dev tool, show, blah blah blah. So there seems to be something with connection, so I'm trying to see if I can connect to the web, right? Because maybe you need to download some kind of data. All right, so but most importantly, our app is running on the web, and I'm very sure that this is going to run here and everything is going to show. Okay, you can see that now, guys. You can see that everything is loading, so it took a little bit of time, and it's nice that we actually have this so that we can actually update this. You can see that the size is bigger, so I'm going to quickly just jump into that now. On the list where we're building our items, I'm going to scroll up to the first one, second item on the list, which is the image. I'm going to give it a width and height. So I'm going to give it a width of the same image, the same size. So let's see what we have there. Yeah, it's taking a little bit of time, but altogether it's nice. We have this on the web, guys. Isn't this amazing? All right, so this is strictly on the web. You can see this is actually Chrome browser, as you can see from here, and you can see that we have exactly what we have on the desktop. So that's how powerful Flutter can be, and I'm happy that we've been able to get to this point. So the next thing we're going to be doing, like I promised, is that we're going to be doing the filtering, and then we should be able to do the pagination. The pagination is not going to really be paginating because we don't have much data to do that, but just be able to build the UI and then set up the thing as it's supposed to be in case when we're doing the real implementations. And let's quickly jump into the final or quarterfinals basically. So what we're going to be doing right now is, since we have our app running, right, I'm seeing that slightly this font needs to have a little bit of bold to stand out, and also these particular prices need to also stand out. So if you check out our reference, you can see that the price is kind of darker, and then this one's, you know, it's kind of standing out a bit. So that's just the quick thing we need to do before we head into the search part. So let's find the price item in our build product tab. So need to find product price, yeah, somewhere around here. So we need to give this guy to have kind of font weight of about I'm gonna do W700. That might give us a bit of a difference. Yeah, I think I might just make it 900. Yeah, so it's slightly out. The last but not the least is going to be the status. So the status, probably just give it a little bit of weight as well. So find the styling, and in the copy weight we're going to add font weight. Let's see what it gives us. Yeah, this is slightly better, right? So I'm just going to leave it at this. Now the next thing we're going to be doing is to work on this filter, right? If you remember when we were actually working on that, we had this text field we worked on. So that text field has this callback function unchanged. So we're going to be doing our filtering from that, and we're going to be taking into consideration the product name, the category, probably we will also consider the status, right? So just these 1, 2, 3 attributes. All right, so that's what we're going to be doing. So let's head into that part. I think that should be somewhere up, somewhere up the header, or slightly below the header. Alright, so you can see we have text fields and we have this unchanged. Alright, so we're gonna just check a few things. We're gonna first of all do to make sure that our value, the value that is returned. So we're gonna do if value dot length is greater than let's do 4 because we're hoping. Okay, let's do 3. That means it's going to be 4. So if it's greater than 3, what we're trying to do is to make sure that what the person has typed is greater than 3. All right. So that means I have like 4 words. So when we check the reference, you can see probably the name, categories, the shoe. Okay. Let's make it because the bag is also 3 letters, so that will not capture that. So we'll do greater than or equal to 3, and then we can let's one quick one before we actually run. Check that. So let's make this guy an else if, alright, because that would be the best capture for this. So we're gonna do if the value is actually empty. Search term that is empty. sorry, because search term dot is empty. Yeah, we can actually leave it as empty, but I want to really force that to be sure. All right, so that's all we need to do here. So let's quickly rerun. Let's see what we can do. All right, now let's start typing something like $21. That's gonna work, but that's not gonna work, right? You can see that because we have a length of that is up to 3, so that wouldn't really capture here. So, but I can do something like 223 or 224. So you see that I have a price that is 224, and that's why it's filtered by price. You can see that. All right, and then if I do something like shoes, so I think we have only one product that is shoes. Let me do something like clothing. You can see all the filters we have here is on clothing, right? And then let's do, we cannot filter by name because right now all the names we have is like, it's a duplicated names. So it wouldn't really make sense to write solid. It's probably gonna bring all of them out, but let's just do something like lapel. Start lapel. Lapel. We're not gonna get the name because this is not like SQL query where you are using like, so it's not really. I think there's a way we can actually modify that. All right, we can actually use the contains stuff, right? That would solve this problem for us. So we're gonna do where instead of using equals to, so we're going to do where our this.contains. So let's refactor this where contains. So let's start with the first one. So we're going to say where product name contains. Contains such terms. All right. And then we can use that. That would probably solve this one. A product dot price contains such term. Product this is supposed to be price, product price dot to string first. All right, and product dot category dot name. Category.name contains such terms. So I'm going to take off this one. So we have price category name. We have name, price category. Let's see if this. So I'm going to format so you can see. So what did we do here? We did where product name contains such terms, or this product or price that contains such terms. yeah, this might really work like like a real web filter. So let's try out something like what would that be? Just like clothing. Right, you can see that it's filtering clothing, right? Yeah, this is the best bet, man. I can tell you that. So even if you do BA, that will really still solve the problem. Okay, so what else? If we do $4, so there's many of them that probably have 4. So well, let's do 2. Yeah, it won't work because we have a length of 2, a length of 3 above, so that's why we can't really get that. But at least maybe we might just remove the restrictions and make it just greater than 1. Alright, maybe greater than or equal to 1. I think 2 will be fine. Right. Just save. So we can do something like 21. So you can see that we have $21 product. We can also do 56. So we have this product 56. Okay. So guys, you can see that we have shoe. Even SH will filter that for us because I think we only have 1 shoe. So guys, that's what we've done so far on this one. So we've been able to do our filter, and our filter is really working the way we want it to work, right? So the next thing we're going to be doing is the pagination part. So the pagination part is just going to be the last part of the tutorial. And what I'm going to be doing in the pagination is just more like we are creating widgets. So I'm just going to, it's going to be more of a fast code. I'm going to just drop the code and I'm going to explain what it does, because this video are really getting longer. And you know, just the way my video is always, because I try to make sure that everything is explained correctly, right? So that's why we actually get it to this point. So I'm going to drop the video and then I'm going to make a provision on where we're going to actually put that, which is just going to be just below. Like if you check on the reference again, you can see that it's actually outside the container that holds our table and everything. So it's just going to be below that place. So that's where we're going to be plugging in. And then we're going to be doing a little bit of housekeeping to make sure that everything kind of looks cool as it's supposed to be. And then one more thing before we go ahead is the way our product is being shown. You can see that if I switch to another tab, all right, the product is still being shown, which is not supposed to be so, all right? I want a way where once we drop on this guy, we should be able to actually have our product to still show what they need to show alongside this guy. All right, so once we switch, we shouldn't just have the product showing. So we're going to track the index of the item that is clicked, then we should be able to show the product, because in case we might have cart as the heading of these other tabs. Alright guys, so welcome back. The next thing, like I said before, we're going to be doing is to work on the pagination. Like I said, we're going to be making the pagination more faster. So I'm going to go drop in the code that is going to handle that pagination, which is just like what we've done so far, you know, just a kind of reusable widget that we actually separated into a separate file. But this is where we're going to be plugging it. So we're going to be plugging it outside of the flexible, which is the root of the container that we actually designed, but it's still going to be living inside the container that holds both the title, the container that holds both these and these guys down here. All right, that's where it's going to be living. So it's going to be living just right outside this place. So, and how do we put that? We're going to be doing a row, and this row is going to the row is going to have, as always, children. and just going to have one child, and that child is going to be the pagination widget. So the widgets are going to be, I'm going to be dropping next, and then we also need to put something else outside there. We're going to do a little bit of spacing from the bottom, so we're going to do a size box. Size box is going to have a height of our default space, 3 times the default space. Okay, so that's all we need to add here. Then we also need to add kind of alignment. So I'm going to do main axis alignment because the widget needs to really pop to the center. So I'm going to do main axis alignment dot center. I'll show you why we need to do that. If you go back to the reference, you see that this widget is somewhere around the center of this place. So that's why I'm trying to push it to the center. So right now that we have the pagination widget, which is not created yet, so and we need to we need to define that in our widget folder, right? So that's what we need to go work on right now. So we're going to go directly into the folders, and then let's define our pagination widgets. Pagination widgets. So pagination widget is going to have just going to be a pure stateless widget. Basically doesn't have something serious. So I'm just going to drop all the ingredients in this place so I'm going to explain what we're doing. So first of all, I'm going to import material first so that all these errors can go and I can explain what is missing. Okay, so I have a pure stateless widget which has a container and a row, and the row has a little bit of you can see it has this keyboard arrow left, which is like we're trying to show this is going to left, all right, and then the next other items is just going to be an individual page numbers. Then we don't want showing that this is active, right? And then you also see that we have another right keyboard arrow here showing that you can click to go next, and then we have this ellipsis, meaning that we have up to 5 to 47 or something like that. So that's what we're doing here in a row format. Now we have product page label, which is just another widget that I did to just hold the widget that is actually active, because we need to pass that page number and active status to it. You can see that this one is currently active. So this widget now is not here. I'm just going to drop it here. It's just quite simple, just a regular stuff. So let's import this primary color, which is just a regular thing. Now let me explain what happened here. It's just a basic thing to product page label. It's just a status widget that has a container of size 30 and 25, which is what we're using to represent this square blue stuff. All right, and then it has a decoration, and we're saying if it's current page, all right, if it's not provided, we'll fall back to false, and then we can use, if it's current page, we'll do a primary color, as we're going to remove the color entirely to color the transparent. All right, and that's all we did. And then we're passing the page number to the container that we've already styled, and that's all we did. We're using this product page label inside here to define the different stuff. You can see that we're using it to define page label, page number, stuff like that, just to create a reusable stuff, so that when you're actually building this in real, you have something that is easy to really customize. All right, so that's all we did here, and let's go back to the main content and import this guy. So hopefully all the errors might disappear. Let's save and see on our page to see if that solves our problem. All right, guys, so you can see that that really solves our problem. You can see that the pagination is there. You can see that the active one is page 4, all right? And just that our loading probably takes a little bit of time sometimes. But you can see that we've been able to get everything working, right? Just that our pagination is not really active, all right, because we don't have too much data loading. The data we have is kind of static. If you're actually pushing this from the web, then that would have made sense to actually the implementation of the pagination would have happened right via the API, where we actually know the current page and the next page we want to go to, so that when we click on this, we can pass this value to the next API request you're going to make to actually get that happen. All right. So guys, we've been able to get this guy. The only other thing that is missing here is just going to be probably a little bit of home keeping, which is not really something that I think is breaking our back right now, right? So what else do we need to really touch up? Like I said, we need to make the product here to show up when we're actually on that particular page. So let's quickly, as we actually we're going to go to the main where we have that column product. So we're going to make sure that this guy only shows up, all right? It's only going to show up if we actually in the current index of 0. So we're going to do if current index is 0, all right? So that's when this guy should show. Let's check that again. So that means that if we switch to any other page, that guy shouldn't show, all right? So that's what we actually achieve. And then let's see, you can also see that the other pagination also disappears as well. So that's important, so that our page don't get really sticky, all right? So this particular project can actually be improved in a whole lot of time, but because we don't have all the time to make everything as seamless as it should be, all right? So but I hope you understand what we are trying to actually achieve. It takes a little bit of time to load, all right, because probably we don't have, it's being loaded from the local file here, and it's not that the latency is not that very perfect. So guys, if you're actually here up to now, you've done really a lot of work, and I really give you a congratulations. And I want you to share this video if you find it very useful. Share this video, subscribe, all right, help us grow the channel, and also join our Discord server, because we have actually a Discord server for the group, and many amazing things that's going to be coming up from that. And I have a lot of other partnership to do this year with my friends that actually do UI design. So we're going to be collaborating and building amazing stuff. So if you're actually here on this channel, you're not going to regret being here. But don't forget to comment, please. Comment on the comment section. Tell us how you actually like this video. Tell us if this video is helpful and what you can actually improve. Like the last time, I got two comments that actually mentioned that I should increase the size of the font, and I don't know if this one is quite helpful, because I've actually increased this font from what it used to be a bigger font size right now. All right, so that's how the feedback can actually help us to make the work better. So if you're still here, I really give you a thumbs up, because you've really learned a whole lot of work. You can see that the last phase of this, we're actually running it on the web. If you're running on Windows, you can actually test to run that on Windows and also on your web browser. So let me stop this project now and go back to the macOS desktop, and I'm going to do the searching there as well. The only thing that I did not show you again that I think I'm forgetting is if you're actually on the Mac and you want to get the image working, loading, I think there's some little bit of things that we need to do to make that work from the Mac. So that's just going to be the last thing, but let's allow it to first of all load, and I'm going to show you that. All right, so you can see that our app is running on the desktop Mac. This is a Mac application right now. All right, the stuff I wanted to show you is that we cannot really load the data from internet, especially the image. If you remember, the image we have cannot load because there's something we need to do for that to happen on the on the Mac desktop of our application. All right, but you can see that this guy is failing. All right, it's falling back to this very fallback image. So what do we need to do? We go to our Mac folders from the project directory, go to the MacOS, go to runner, right, and then we're going to open two files. We go to runner, open the release, the entitlement, sorry, and then debug the entitlement. Then we're going to paste these values here. This value is going to be true. Sorry, just going to be one of these values. Cut out this one. So it's going to be key. Alright, so with this we are giving it access to the internet. I'm going to copy it again. So where we are now is the debug profile of entitlement. We also need to do that in the release of the entitlement. Alright, so with this we're going to save, and we're going to rerun the app. Hopefully we should have this guy get access to the internet and load the image for this. That's just going to be the last thing we're going to be doing here. And if you are still here, like I said, I really appreciate you, and I really appreciate those that have subscribed and giving us feedbacks. I also have other channels. If you like what we're also doing, just don't forget to give us a pat on the back on the channels that we have. Like buy us a coffee, anything like that. Will really give us more motivation to actually keep creating awesome, useful content. In the long term, I'm going to be building a real desktop application, probably like this inventory application. Now I'm going to build it to the point where it can actually be useful. Like we're going to be actually probably sell it out. Yeah, because Flutter offers us a lot of opportunity to create some amazing desktop applications. Because if you're actually doing this on Windows, VB.net, you might not really be able to achieve such UI aesthetic. You can't really achieve what we have on Flutter on that space, right? Even when you are using Java, other type of UI building frameworks for desktop, you might not really be able to achieve exactly what we have right now here. So let's see if we have this guy running here. So I'm going to try rerunning again. But not necessarily, that's all we really need to do on this one for that guy to happen. So, but I'll give you access to check that out and see if why that is actually giving you, why it's not really loading at this point. All right. So, just to save this video from being that lengthy, we're gonna end it on this one. I'll see you on the next one, guys.